Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So the first thing I'm going to be using on Shayna is the Too Faced Hangover Primer, and then I'm going to go after that with the rose water I have here. I just feel like it's a good mix together to really moisturize the face, and I also used moisturizer before this, I just didn't show on camera. After that, I'm going to be using a NARS illuminator because this is a Barbie inspired tutorial, so I want everything to be really glowy and almost doll-like, if that makes sense, so I'm going to be putting this all over her face. The next thing I'm going to be using is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. I believe it is in the shade Honey, and I applied a little bit more than normal just because I am going to be using a beauty blender because I want a super airbrushed, more full coverage look since this is a Barbie tutorial, but I still don't want it super cakey, so I'm not really piling it on. But yeah, I'm going to be using a beauty blender to blend this out. So this is one of my roommates, Shayna. I'll post her Instagram on the screen. You guys should follow her Instagram. But she's actually one of 4 of my roommates. You guys have seen actually 2 roommates on my channel. I remember, I think it was like 2 years ago, I posted a video with Savannah. It was like the date night prom makeup look with the red lips. And then I also just posted one with Daisy. I think it was my last video. But yeah, hopefully I will do all of my roommates' makeup look. It really comes in handy when all your roommates are super attractive and they all look good in makeup tutorials. So yes. So the next thing I'm going to be using is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is in Macadamia, and I'm going to be putting that under her eyes. All the typical places that I always put it. I just feel like a lighter shade of concealer when you put it in certain areas like I'm showing you, it really brings light to the face and obviously adds more coverage as well. Also, I've said this in the video that I did with Daisy, like my last client makeup tutorial. Since these are my roommates, I'm not doing certain sanitary things that I should be doing. So if you guys want a video with me doing like full sanitary client makeup tutorials, let me know because this is not it. And the next thing I'm going to be using is the Benefit Hula Cookie Contour Stick. I always use this on myself or my clients if I want a super bronzed and kind of flawless bronze look. I feel like it always looks a little bit nicer if you use a cream contour and also a powder contour because it almost gives a little bit of a diffusion underneath. I don't really know how to explain it, but I always just think it looks a little better if I want to be like extra bronze. Obviously that makes sense, just like adding more bronzer as like you add any product more, but I always do this if I'm going like out or if any of my friends are going out or it's like a special event. And the next thing I'm going to be using is the Laura Mercier translucent powder. I always tap the concealer out under the eyes because even if you just wait a bit, if you're using a lot of cream products like we are today, creases will show under the eyes. That's why I always got to set your makeup unless you're just doing like an everyday, no powder, super minimal concealer look. Like hardly the concealer creases, but usually it still does anyway. So I always just say, set your makeup. Next thing I'm going to be using is the Benefit Hula Bronzer. And like I said before, I'm just going to be kind of almost setting that contour as well. And this just kind of revamps the contour look. But I'm just going to be contouring her face in the normal places I always contour. Next, I'm using the Laura Mercier translucent powder again. I'm going to be putting that under her contour. This cleans it up because even myself, I bring down the contour a little bit too much. This kind of just happens using a big brush, but also it just defines it a lot more and makes it look really sharp. And then after that, I blend it out afterwards. So I'm going to be using 2 different types of blushes. I really wanted to create that Barbie effect. So the first one from Makeup Geek has some shimmers in it, and the Lancome one is completely matte, but it is more pinky. They're both basically light pinks. And I'm going to be putting them on the apples of the cheeks and also bringing them back because it always looks nicely blended once you blend it in with the contour a bit and not just leave it on the cheeks. This is the Maybelline Master Chrome Highlight in shade 100, I believe. It's the more golden one. This is an awesome highlight if you want a blinding highlight and a good quality highlight for cheaper. So I would definitely recommend that if you guys are looking for highlights. I believe they are a little bit hard to find, but I'm sure if you order them online, it would be a lot easier. And after I do the face, before I do the eyebrows, and before I do the eyes, I've recently been doing a lot. I think I've been doing this for the past, I don't know, half a year. I will set my face after I'm done the whole like foundation and like contouring and stuff. just because I don't really like setting my face after I've done my eyeshadow because I don't want it to get like sticky and creasy and like ruin the lashes or anything like that. So I just decided to do it after that because the only thing I'm really trying to set is the foundation. And I'm going to be doing the eyebrows. This is SANIAS Brow Bar Mechanical Eyebrow Pencil. I'm using shade medium. A lot of people would think to use like a dark shade because Shayna's eyebrows are really dark. But to get a more natural look, and since her eyebrows are already super full, I just lightly penciled in with a medium color in sparse areas, even though like literally hardly any areas are sparse in Shayna's eyebrows. Just because, yeah, it gives it a more natural look and not so like blocked eyebrows. And then after that, I'm going to be using a concealer just to sharpen up the edges. Next, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Eyebrow Gel. I kind of go back and forth between these two, the Benefit one and the Anastasia one. I know you guys have seen me use both. Kind of like the Benefit one more. I don't know, I feel like it just holds your eyebrows in place a little bit longer, but this is the one I have now, so I'm going to be using this one now. Obviously still love this one. There are a lot of bad eyebrow gels on the market, and the two I mentioned are definitely great. From the Urban Decay Ultimate Basics palette, I'm going to be using the shade Pregame. This is basically just a nude cream color. It doesn't have any shimmers in it, and I'm going to be using that to set the concealer under the eyebrows and just bring it down a bit, just because sometimes if you don't set the concealer under your eyebrows that you use to shape them and stuff, the eyeshadow will stick to it. Usually it doesn't stick to it that bad, but I just wanted to be safe in this case. You do not need this palette for this shade. I just picked up a random palette and used it. It's honestly just a skin tone cream color, so anything will be fine. And then I'm going to be using the Makeup Geek Mango Tango eyeshadow. I love this eyeshadow. I haven't used it in a really long time. I remember I used to be such a fan of it, still am. But I thought it was just like super perfect for this Barbie makeup tutorial. It's like a pink mango-y shimmer shade, and I'm going to be using that as a transition color in her crease. Next, I'm going to be using this Makeup Forever Artist Eyeshadow in M-846. I honestly don't know if that's the shade, but it's the only thing on the back because it's a single eyeshadow. I believe some of you guys have tried to look for this eyeshadow and say you can't find it. I don't know what else to do to help you guys. It's basically just a pinky red shade, and that's all that's on the back, so that's all the information I have as well. Probably if I tried to buy it again, it would be impossible for me too, but I just bought it in Sephora, so if you guys look for like a pink red shade, it shall be there. And I'm just using this on the outer thirds of her eyes to deepen the look, and also I'm blending it in with the Mango Tango that we used. So now I'm going to be using concealer, and I'm going to be doing a half cut crease, so it's not going to be like one of those full like winged cut creases. It's going to blend into the outer thirds. You want a super flat brush. I like one that's almost a little bit oval shaped and that's super flat that you can use with concealer just to get a really sharp edge. I don't really like to use flat definer brushes that I use for under my eyebrows because it doesn't give me a good curve. So I do this, it takes a little while, it's probably the longest part of the eyeshadow look, but you kind of just want to try to make it as perfect as you can because it is hard to go back if you do screw up. Next I'm going to be using MAC Whisper Pink Pigment, I believe it was, and I'm going to be putting it on my brush and spraying it a bit with setting powder just because it makes it a little more pigmented and kind of holds together a little bit better because this is like a very loose pigment. It will create a lot of fallout, but it's just a pink shimmery color, and I'm going to be putting that on top of the concealer, on top of the half cut crease we made, and start blending it into the outer thirds. So I'm going to be taking a bit of that Makeup Forever eyeshadow, and I'm going to be blending the outer thirds just to blend in the pigment and the outer thirds together a little bit more. I also do like to put it above the crease to make more of a contrast between the lid and the crease color. And I did the other eye off camera, and once again just touching up both eyes to make sure they're nicely blended together. And using that Makeup Forever eyeshadow once again, I probably used a little bit of Mango Tango as well. I'm just going to be blending those two colors together and blending it in the lower lash line under the eye. Now I'm going to be taking the Lancome Art Liquid Eyeliner. This is in the shade Black, and I'm going to be starting to create a wing Always on clients, what I do is pull up their eyelid a bit just so their lash line is more visible and there's more space since you move the skin a bit, if that makes sense. And when I create the actual wing, I will get my client to look straight at my shoulder so I could see where the wing will actually take place, because it is kind of hard to see with different eye shapes if the wing will be folded into the crease of the eye. So you want to make sure that you know where the wing is actually going. And next thing I do is apply the Ardell Wispy lashes off camera. I use these lashes on almost all my clients. I used to use the Kiss 11 lashes. And she's going to just be applying a white eyeliner in her lower lash line just because Barbie has very open and bright eyes, and I believe she also wears white eyeliner. That could just be my imagination. And also she's going to apply mascara to her bottom lashes. So I'm now using the MAC Spice lip liner, and I'm going to be overlining her lips a little bit. Trick to overlining lips is to overline the cupid's bow a little bit more, not the direct center of the cupid's bow, but where the little two bumps are, if that makes sense. I do not know how to describe this. And also I'm going to overline her bottom lip a bit, and that's the same thing. I feel like overlining just the center of the lips and not the outer thirds, or else it starts to look almost a little duck-like. So yeah, I'm going to be outlining that first, and it's going to be a bit darker than the actual lipstick, so it gives a little bit of an ombre effect that also makes your lips look a little bit poutier. And usually always after, on myself and clients, I will fix up the lips and just make the edges a little bit more clean and sharp with concealer. And next I'm going to be using the MAC She Better Work lipstick. This is a baby pink from the MAC Patrick Star collaboration. And the same lip gloss that came in with that collaboration for this lipstick. It's She Better Work lip gloss, and I'm going to be applying that on top, which is perfect for a Barbie makeup tutorial. And always after, I've said this before, but I like to touch up a bit, so I'm going to just be reapplying a little bit of bronzer. I usually apply a little bit of blush and highlighter, just making sure everything looks right. And then after that, I'm going to be applying a little bit of glitter that I forgot about before. I'm going to be using the Too Faced glitter glue. And I'm going to be applying that a bit to her lid, and then I'm going to be adding the Coastal Scents glitter ball, I think it is. No, it's crystal ball glitter ball. But yeah, I'm going to be putting that on top of it just to add a little bit of shimmer. But yeah, this is the finished makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed this client makeup tutorial. If I should do all my roommates, let me know, and I'll see you guys in my next makeup tutorial.